Now let's look at a couple of more analysis that we can do. When the order quantity is 200, then it turns out that the profit can only be one of these three things. So if you calculate the profit for different demand values, there are only 5 possible demand values, with 200 as the order quantity, if you work it out, you'll see there are only 3 possible profits that you can make, and these are those 3 different profits. So we can then figure out how many fall, how many times in the replications we have a profit of minus 250, and how many times 125, and so on. And you can do this in a couple of different ways. And let me show you the array function method. That is, you highlight these 3 cells and then you do your frequency. Okay, so we have the data array and the bin array. So data array is profit, right? Bin array is these 3 values. Close parenthesis, and here is where the array function comes into picture. So once you have entered the function, remember you start with highlighting all the 3 cells. Then you enter this function, and then you have to press Control Shift with your left hand and then press the Enter key. So with Control Shift depressed, you press the Enter key. Now if you simply press the Enter key, it will not enter the function properly. Okay. If you sum the frequencies, and of course there are 1000 replications, so when you sum, that should be equal to 1000. Now relative frequency is the frequency divided by the total number of replications. That 816 must be absolute referenced. So that will give you the relative frequency. And the relative frequency is like a probability. Okay. So now let's put the underline back. Now if we copy that sum, it should get 1, of course. So now you see, and if we express that as a percentage, then we can see a distribution of the likelihood of making a loss of 250, likelihood of making a profit of 125 and 500 when the order quantity is 200. Okay, now we can look at what will happen if we consider different order quantity sizes. So instead of 200, what if we order only 100 or 150, like one of these demand possibilities? Okay, suppose if we did that, or even we can say 100, 125. Your textbook goes from 100 to 300 in increments of 25. So let's look at that now. So we're going to use data table. So we start with 100, okay, and then the previous number plus 25. So we will go in increments of 25 all the way to 300. And we want to get the average profit for each of those order quantities. So our average profit is in this cell. Okay. Now we are doing one-way data table. So highlight the table, go to data, what if analysis, and data table, and the order quantities are in a column. So select column input cell and select the order quantity. Click OK, and now it generates your profits under different order quantities. So let's see. I'll get rid of the decimal places. And now we can plot these as bar graph. So, okay, with the x-axis being the order quantity. Okay, so we will give chart titles. This is average profit. We'll move it here. We'll give axis titles. X-axis is order quantity, and y-axis title is average profit. And you can visually see what happens to our profit as the order quantity increases from 100 to 300. So this is a Monte Carlo example using Excel functions. We did not have to use any other functions from other add-ins. We used the Excel RAND function, Excel VLOOKUP function, and that's it. Now we will look at a easier way of modeling these 1000 replications. The problem with this kind of model is the 1000 replications. It's kind of messy to have 1000 rows of these replications. So there is an easier way to generate these replications, which is what we're going to look at in the next example.